if I know that it's modal, I know it could be either a third or a sixth. Everybody, a third would be like from the C up to the E. A sixth is going to be a C up to an A. Here's my C up to an E is a third, and it's called that because I got count 1, 2, 3. And then up to a sixth would be C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to have 4 notes in between the two. What I would find is that there's another factor which I call the fundamental octave polarity factor. And what I mean by that is that the ear seems to be able, I know it's hard to believe, to tell where the nearest manifestation is of the bottom pitch. Okay? So that if I have a C and an E, that E is going to go down to the C because it's closer. But if I go C up to A, the C that's closest is actually the one up here. That's a third away. All right, now let me show you what I mean. So you're going to feel, when you hear 2 pitches together, that the upper pitch refers or seems to look down. I think it's almost a magnetic thing. And then that a sixth, the upper pitch tends to want to look up. And that's very important in terms of, your opera arias. When a composer puts in a large interval, it means something very different than when they use smaller ones. One is much more dramatic, but they're still the same basic character. So here we go. Listen to this. I'm going to take out the top note. In a sixth, if I remove it, it's going to this pitch. Here. So if you're hearing that at all, that's awesome, all right? But believe me, your metaconscious brain is already perceiving it anyway. Okay, that was clear. So let me show you, though, something that's even one of my favorite party gimmicks. Okay, so here, mostly again, just to show off how wonderful the musical ear is only. If I play this note, C, and I play this note, B, a major seventh higher, so it's way the heck up there to that B, from that C, way up there to the next, close to the next one. Now I'm going to remove the upper note, and of course, we hear the resolution that it wants to go to that note. Now the party trick is this. I'm going to be playing my C and B with my left hand. With my right hand, I'm going to play the octave above that C. So it's going to be a half step higher than that upper note in my left hand. So C, B, C. I'm going to play it very, and then you'll hear it. This is, I'm playing it now. And you want to see me? I'm playing it. Can you guys attest to the fact that I'm playing it? Okay? Right, now watch. I'm not playing it. Is there much difference? Playing it? Not playing it. Okay? So, yeah, I know it is. So, and it's just something that the ear does very naturally, and it's so important because it tells us why notes tend in certain directions, why they're pulled in certain directions. And it's because the brain, I think, is always trying to reference where a pitch is in relationship to the bottom pitch or its octave partial. Where is it setting? Is it somewhere in the middle? And if it's in the middle, it's going to be perfect. Is it somewhere a little bit closer? Or up here, a little bit closer? Those are the modal ones. And then the ones that are dissonant are the ones that are right next to it. Those are the dissonances. But this means that I can now tell whether it's a second or a seventh, because the upper note, just if you put yourself kind of between the 2 pitches, it just settles down. Here versus this. Right, and so it has this sense of yearning, that's happening when it's a seventh. And so this is the second factor that we're going to be observing. So in this thing, what I have is that these are the seconds, but you see the seventh is right next to the octave. Doesn't look much like a 7, as a matter of fact. Seventh. So, and here are the thirds, a little bit further away, and then the fourths and the fifths. And what we can see is that the closer we are to the fundamental, the more active the sound. And the farther away, the clearer the sound. All right. So tell me whether I'm playing a second or a seventh. Real loud, second.
Second, 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 seventh, 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 second, 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 seventh, seventh.
Awesome. Good. Good. All right. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is telling a third from a sixth, because now that we know it's modal, well, yeah, but is it the third that's closer to that note, or is it the sixth that's closer to that? And here we go. This is the third versus the sixth. Right, okay? So third, and they're moving at 4 hertz, so that we're now getting 2 factors put together. We're making a kind of a cookie dough, okay? We're just adding more ingredients. So the ingredients we're adding now is this pulling towards the fundamental, which is crucial. So now the third is going to have the modal edges, and the sixth is going to have the modal edges, but they're pulling, one's pulling this way, one's pulling that way, okay? So which one is this? Third, real loud, third.
Third, third,
Even louder, third.
third, sixth, 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 third, 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 sixth, sixth.
Excellent, awesome, okay. Now, let's put together second, third, sixth, or seventh. Now, to do this, you have to be able to perceive both the factors we've discussed, but that's no big deal. You can hear that it's modal, 4 hertz, therefore it's going to be a third or a sixth, and you'll be able to tell by that time. By the time you've heard that it's modal, the brain's already told you which is the closest interaction, because I think that's why it's happening. And then if it's dissonant, you know, it's a second or a seventh, right? And so see how you do. So you see the whole thing there, just kind of relax. Which one is this?
Second, second, third, 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 second, seventh, 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 sixth, third.
Natural, third, good, third. How many of you guys thought that that might have been a sixth? Good, and there's quite a few hands here, probably about 10. That is completely natural. That's because of the fact that the brain was expecting that there was going to be a sixth after I played the seventh. And it's actually quite a big change, so it's a completely natural thing. The opposite can happen. If I play a lot of seconds and thirds rather, it can suddenly happen that it can be difficult to hear the others, okay? So here we go. So this one is a sixth, sixth, third, good, third, third. Right. See it doing this? One thing for dissonant. Seventh, seventh. Okay, so good, you're hearing it's modal. Listen. Good. Okay, keep going. This is very, very good already. Sixth. Good. Sixth. Try not to try. I know that's hard. Sixth. Good. What do you think, everybody? Sixth. Do you notice that it's a cognitive law? Every time I went from a second to a sixth, it was hard because I changed both factors. I changed the fact that it was, oh my gosh, all of a sudden it's modal, but it's also the one that's looking up. Whereas I was just on a dissonant one that looked down. It's following absolute cognitive laws. It's predictable. And that's what Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, and any great composers banking on. They trust that we're hearing those things and understand how. Want to try another set of those so you get used to them? All right, so these are much more challenging. All right, so third. Good. Good. Just use your ear. Seventh. Good. Good. Awesome. Good. Now, what you might notice is every time you might have troubles, It's often because of the fact that the mind wanted to say something. And it was actually that we listened more to our own mind than we might have listened to the sound. And you fixed it beautifully. It takes a lot, but it's actually trusting Hubble. It's trusting that we have this capacity, and that all you have to do is sort of relax and let that happen, instead of that you have to be in any way second guessing. But it's completely natural when those things happen, and bravo for inhibiting when I made some of those shifts that time.